send, you think of a way you could have made it sunnier, made it funnier. I got a text last year from Bruce Willis, and it said, "Hey Gus, did you hear that Gary Coleman's died?" And I texted back, "What are you talking about, Bruce?" So I went to see my granddad yesterday, and he said, "Look son, I've got some money for you, so I don't want you have to wait till I die till you get your inheritance. There would have been more, but I'm still paying off my student loan. But I want you to promise me you'll invest the money wisely." So I went to see a financial advisor. He suggested I invest it in a ISA. I went, "Fuck off, you dick, nobody buys ice cream in Valentine." So I went and got pissed instead. Went to a few pubs and on to a club. Well, just before closing time I saw a nice young lady. So I bought her a drink, gave her my favourite chat-up line. "Hey darling, there's 50 pence. Go and buy some polos, your breath's stinking." Although I've got to admit, the best monetary-based chat-up line I've ever heard. I was at a train station, I was sitting opposite a young couple. The guy turns to the girl, he said, "Do you want to go to the toilet for a fuck?" She said, "No, I do not." He said, "Go on, I'll pay the 20p. So I went up to this lady, I bought her a drink, we chatted for a bit. She asked me to go back to hers, and let me tell you, she couldn't walk this morning. She wouldn't have sex with me, so I shot her in the kneecaps. Anyway, it's enough for an introduction, we better get started. So, good evening. So no, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you have been a brilliant audience. You've brought a lump to my throat and a lump to my pants. Listen, I'm gonna have to get going because the hat's making me sweat like a sex offender that's took his laptop in the PC world. But there's a few things I want to do because this is the last time I'll be on stage. I want to make a serious point. I think it's about time the police stopped using CS spray to apprehend criminals because it's going to end in tears. I want to be philosophical. We've all got problems, stresses and strains, things on our mind. It's worth remembering there is always someone worse off than yourself, which is why whenever I pass someone in a wheelchair, I like to run really fast. Just because I can. I'm gutted because I planned to finish tonight on a song, but I forgot to back in music. It was a song I wrote for my great-granda, who died 30 years ago today when I was just 3 years old. And I wrote this song for him because I know he'd be looking down tonight, he'd be listening to every word. The song was called "You Promised Me a Bike, You Cunt." But listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed what I've done tonight, it's been filmed and the DVD is going to be on my website. And all the money raised goes to a charity that's very close to me. No, I couldn't do it with a straight face. No, the money goes to me. Ray briefly mentioned it before he brought me back on. It's not the end of live comedy in Aberdeen. If you want to come along, there's a gig here tomorrow night. It's an open mic night. There's still a handful of tickets left. If you've got giant hands. So my advice would be to avoid disappointment, make other plans. Listen, the last thing I want to do before I ride off into the sunset is leave the gentleman in the room with 4 pieces of advice based on my own experiences. First one is just a quick one. If you've entered into a new relationship and your friends ask what your girlfriend does for a living, tell them she's still at school. It's funny as well. Secondly, if you're down in the dumps because you've spent the night with a rather promiscuous female and she's giving you a dose of the crabs, don't try and cheer yourself up by watching the Simpsons movie, because it'll just piss you off that the first two characters on screen are called Itchy and Scratchy. Number 3, you may be making a night of it tonight. You might meet a young lady, she's had a few drinks, she asks you to walk her home, so you think your luck's in. But remember, no means no. You know, my head's spinning, I need to lie down is a legal minefield. But listen, before I tell you the last piece of advice, ladies and gentlemen, you've been brilliant. I'm going to be up at the bar later. If you know me, come along and have a drink with me. If you don't know me, obviously don't come anywhere near me. But seriously, come up and have a drink, because we need to spend money in here so that Sandy can get his place done up. But listen, the last piece of advice and the last joke I'll ever tell on a stage anywhere in the world is this. Booed off, last time ever I booed off.
It's all in that good, mate, that's no.
And it comes in the form of a cautionary tale. If you've got two friends with the same name and you're planning texting them both one morning, be careful not to get them mixed up. Especially if, for instance, one of them has just lost his entire family in a car crash. The other one's had a 12-hour drinking session and had to get up early for work. Because while the one with a hangover from hell will be slightly puzzled by a text which says, "So sorry to hear about your loss, please let me know if there's anything I can do for you," the one who's trying to come to terms with the death of his wife and children won't appreciate a text which simply says, "Are you suffering? LOL." Cheers for coming along. Good night.
Ah!